Even most JFK earwitnesses who heard all shots come from the Oswald window actually prove more than one gunman. Here's how. When a crime is committed in your area, police will canvass your neighborhood in search of people who saw or heard something of relevance. Eyewitnesses and earwitnesses may not be considered reliable evidence as much as forensics or DNA. Yet both prosecutors and defense attorneys at trial still use eyewitnesses or earwitnesses to incriminate or exonerate the accused. True, you and I could witness a crime while standing beside each other and see or hear something completely at odds with each other, which was certainly the case among approximately 600 witnesses to the assassination of JFK in Dealey Plaza. Some eyewitnesses saw a rifle being withdrawn from the Book Depository 6th floor southeast corner window, top of the yellow line at right. This turned out to be correct. An assassin fired from that location. Some eyewitnesses saw a puff of smoke or a flash of light arise from under a tree along the grassy knoll picket fence as seen at right. Any inference of a second gunman in Dealey Plaza by multiple witnesses were dismissed as false by the Warren Commission, such as Sam Holland, who was standing on the overpass on Elm Street when the JFK car came under fire as it approached him. You would think that earwitnesses would be even less reliable than eyewitnesses. After all, the more than 60 documented earwitnesses in Dealey Plaza reported hearing anywhere from 2 to several shots. Many earwitnesses claim that the shots they heard came from the 6th floor Book Depository window behind JFK, as seen at right. This was correct. At least 2 shots came from the so-called Oswald window. At least 58 earwitnesses, such as railroad worker Lee Bowers Jr., reported hearing at least 1 shot come from the grassy knoll to the right front of JFK's limousine as it moved along Elm Street. In its final report to the public, the Warren Commission interviewed less than a handful of the 58 earwitnesses who heard a shot come from the grassy knoll area. All of them were dismissed as mistaken. The vast majority of the more than 60 grassy knoll earwitnesses told reporters and independent researchers that they believed the shot came from Kennedy's right front, even after the Warren report was published, and concluded that all the shots came from above and behind JFK. All this misses one key point of commonality by a majority of earwitnesses throughout Dealey Plaza that has nothing to do with where they believe the shots came from. A key point of commonality was made by a multitude of earwitnesses who heard shots come from the Book Depository behind JFK at left, or the grassy knoll ahead of JFK at right. Earwitnesses interviewed by Warren Commission investigators, reporters, researchers, or the House Select Committee on Assassinations 15 years later, whether asked under oath or volunteering of the information, provided absolute proof of at least 2 shooters in Dealey Plaza. How? Majority of the dozens of earwitnesses, even those who reported hearing a total of 3 shots the commission concluded were all fired by Oswald from above and behind JFK, almost unanimously told investigators that the spacing of the shots they heard was as follows: bang, bang, bang. With each blue dash you see at right representing 1 second of elapsed time, the first bang is the first shot that witnesses heard. After the first shot, a vast majority of earwitnesses reported a pause of approximately 5 seconds, as represented by the 5 blue dashes you see at right. 5 seconds of elapsed time after the first shot, the second shot sounds, followed by a very quick pause of no more than 1 second. Then the third shot sounds. This is the spacing described even by most earwitnesses who told the Commission, FBI, Dallas County Sheriff's Office, Dallas Police, reporters, or independent researchers that the 3 shots they heard all came from the Book Depository building above and behind JFK. So, with many of these earwitnesses identified and discussed in my second book, JFK Case Not Closed, what's the problem with this consistent spacing of gunshots by dozens of earwitnesses spread throughout Dealey Plaza? The spacing of the 3 sounds prove irrefutably that all 3 shots could not have been fired by the Oswald rifle found on the Book Depository's 6th floor and taken into custody by Lieutenant J.C. Day of the Dallas Police. The spacing of the 3 shots proved beyond a reasonable doubt that while the first and second shots could have come from the Oswald rifle, the third shot had to have been fired by a second gunman in Dealey Plaza. Why? Oswald's Mannlicher Carcano rifle, like this exact replica on display near the sniper's nest in the 6th floor museum, is a 1940s Italian military weapon. It is a manual bolt-action rifle. After each shot, the shooter must manually lift the round ball, as seen at left, to an upright position, move the bolt-action forward, and then return it to its original position to advance the next bullet from the clip to the firing chamber. The shooter must then reacquire his target, aim, and pull the trigger. He must repeat this process to fire every shot from this type of weapon. The FBI, the Warren Commission's chief investigative arm, test-fired Oswald's rifle. Its top marksman determined the minimum firing time between shots to be 2.3 seconds. This gives the 6th floor Book Depository assassin the time to fire the first 2 shots only, the second shot coming 5 seconds after the first shot, as demonstrated at right, with each blue dash equaling 1 second of elapsed time. The third shot, according to the earwitnesses, sounded no more than 1 second after the second shot, as depicted at right. Yet it takes a minimum 2.3 seconds to manually ready the Oswald rifle to fire the next shot. The third shot had to have come from a second assassin, likely the grassy knoll, as identified by dozens of eyewitnesses and earwitnesses, many seen rushing to that area in the moments following the shooting. This defies the Warren Commission's claim that all 3 shots were fired by Lee Oswald's rifle from the 6th floor window above and behind JFK, as shown in the photo taken by this researcher at the sniper's nest. This explains why the Warren Commission dismissed or ignored dozens of earwitnesses and failed to address the timing between shots in its 888-page Warren report. The many earwitnesses to the JFK assassination are an example of how evidence in support of multiple gunmen was dismissed, ignored, altered, or suppressed by the Warren Commission to frame Lee Harvey Oswald as the lone assassin of President Kennedy.